You're listening to the AdCast, the podcast for marketers and advertisers, with your host, Eric Elliott.
Welcome back to episode 2 of the AdCast. Today I'm going to continue my conversation with Mr. Ken Harrell of the Joye Law Firm. In the last episode, we talked about marketing and advertising for personal injury law firms, what's made it different, what's made it difficult, and how it is today, and most importantly, why should you advertise? This is the AdCast. No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we talked about that a long time ago before about, not just saying, hey, I got the client this much money. And truthfully, if someone got a significant amount of money, they went through something very significant, or they will continue to go through something very significant. Do you feel like it really has hurt the profession a little bit when you do see firms that advertise like that? Not just in South Carolina, because there's some in Texas and all over the country that do things like that. Do they give a firm like yours a bad name almost?
I think it does hurt the profession. I think it does make it harder to get a result or the right result for somebody that's been seriously injured. I still think you can overcome, if you try the case the right way, you present the case in the right way, you can break through to a jury and you can convince them, hey, look, we know you've probably come in here with certain biases about these cases, in part because of some of the ads that you see. I think you can overcome that. I think things have kind of calmed down a little bit in South Carolina. You mentioned the fact that we no longer have lawyers that are able to use nicknames, although
I've seen a few.
John Hawkins, who with Hawk Law, and look, I like John, so I'm not saying anything negative about John. It's a different type of marketing. That's getting pretty close to me, because with Hawk Law, but it's probably not the same as the strong arm or the heavy hitter. Mm-hmm. But again, those ads, I don't want to have a client screeching like a hawk on a TV ad. That's just that's my choice. That's the brand that I want. What John is doing clearly must be working for John, or he wouldn't be spending as much as he is on those ads. I always say I got enough to do worrying about keeping my own shop in order.
Right.
So I'm not going to spend a lot of time worrying about how the guy down the street is running his shop. Because I think I'm better served to just focus on trying to make my mousetrap better.
Yeah.
But there are ads that I see that I think, man, if I'm Joe Blow sitting on the couch and I see that, I think it can put us in a poor light sometimes.
Wow. Something. So now talking about that and using other firms, for example, how competitive is the market now versus 5 years ago? And I'll say this because there was one time I was having lunch with someone and the lawyer hour came on. If you know what that is, it's lawyer ad after lawyer ad after lawyer ad. It's like, one, how do you stand out, and how competitive is it? Because do you have to be the number 1 or number 2 or number 3 spending guy to be able to get the cases now? Yeah,
it's incredibly competitive. Charleston has always been incredibly competitive. As you know, Eric, there's different markets, and they're cut up all over the country. The DMAs is the industry reference to a different market, different TV market. And I know Charleston typically has fluctuated, but it's always been in sort of the top 10 of lawyer spending per capita.
Yeah.
So, and you're talking about out of 260 markets. So it's always been incredibly competitive in Charleston. It was not as competitive in the other markets, which in South Carolina, you got the Myrtle Beach, Florence market, you got the Columbia market, you got the Greenville market. Those markets tended to be less competitive, but that's changed over the last 10 years. Now, they're not in the top 10. It's not as competitive as Charleston. But there's a lot of lawyer spending statewide, and anybody that turns their TV on and watches the news in the morning, or God forbid, watches Judge Judy and all the stuff that starts coming on after the news is over, they are well aware that there are plenty of lawyer ads. I don't. The question, that's the $1 million question. How do you distinguish yourself when there's so much? Because it does all start to sound the same after a while.
It does.
And we've tried. We'll keep trying. Again, we want our ads to be perhaps a little understated compared to what other people are running. We've always stayed away from gimmicks. We want it just to basically, again, be that message that, hey, these guys are really good at what they do, and the more seriously injured you are, the more important it is you get good lawyers. But obviously, there's good lawyers that don't market on TV. There's excellent lawyers that don't market on TV that do the same type of work that we do. I think the web marketing, that's been the biggest sea change in our profession, and I'm sure in every profession. You've had to adapt to that, and it's become a bigger and bigger component of how we market for cases, is wanting to be as competitive as possible when it comes to what's on the web. But I think the web can be for particularly the more serious your case is, it can be an excellent resource for people to try to start distinguishing between firms to see who they think is going to be the best choice for them.
Well, I made this comment a while ago that what law firms are doing now is what automotive guys used to do 5 and 10 years ago by the mass marketing and, be everywhere, do everything kind of things. And now I see some of the law firms, they're getting wiser where they are looking towards the web, and they're really working the funnel more as versus throwing the spaghetti against the wall to see what sticks. Right. And people are getting wiser now. They're making their websites really work for them now. Mm-hmm. They're really working for them now.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, you can't be in this industry without having you have to have a quality website. I think you have to have quality content.
Yes.
Of course, then the next question becomes, all right, well, how do you make it visible? You can have the best website in the world. Nobody goes to it. It's not doing you a lot of good.
100%.
And when you talk about different approaches, I think of a good friend of mine here in town, David Ayler. And David primarily has focused more on criminal defense work. That's certainly been where he's done a very good job with some trial results, but also does some personal injury work. And David's never been on TV, but very aggressive with his web marketing. And I know how aggressive he is because there's often key terms that our firm and his firm are sort of jockeying back and forth on certain key terms. But his approach, when you said lawyers are everywhere, I'd challenge you to go into a bar or Lord, I went to a River Dogs game over the weekend without getting a wristband that doesn't have Ayler's name on it, because they're everywhere.
Yeah, he's a different marketer. David's
done, but very effective.
He's very effective marketing.
Yeah, and it's just different ways again to get it done. But at the end of the day, it's all about hustling. I admire, which is why David and I are friends, because I think we admire the fact that we both are hustlers and we both are hard workers and are out there chipping away at it as hard as we can. But then, you still have to be able to do the work.
Yes.
So
I like that. Put in the work.
Yeah,
Ken
that's
Harrell
the
says
second
put
part
in
of
the
the
work.
equation is, you get these clients signed up. You better have good people who know what the heck they're doing. Right. Because if you don't, that's a recipe for disaster as well, because at some point the pyramid's going to fall.
It can hurt you more in the long term, trust me.
Yeah.
Definitely. So now we talked about standing out, and we talked about how you like to position your firm, but how important is it to have good creative?
Oh, I think it's crucial. And you guys obviously do excellent work, Eric, and if you're going to spend the money, particularly if you're talking about TV, but as you know, good creative doesn't. I mean, that's just the beginning of it. But your web, you need good creative on your web. Video content is extremely important there too, and the YouTube presence and the social media presence, and everywhere that we're used to, going somewhere and watching videos. Lord knows the last thing you want to have is to have somebody come across your firm and click on the video. And I still see this, which frankly in 2019 amazes me. And I'll see firms that I'm like, man, pretty good lawyers. And I'll see their video content, and it looks like their 8th grade kid did it as a class project. And I'm like,
I couldn't agree more.
Good Lord. I mean,
I think that's when they just want someone with a camera, light, and a microphone to come out and just say, just make me a video.
Yeah. And you think, man, if you're going to take the time to do it, invest a little money and do it the right way. Yeah. I mean, don't put garbage out there.
No, I agree. I agree 100%. So, Ken, are you very proud of you? If I had to say from 1 to 10, how proud of you are you about Joye Law Firm's branding, your reputation, from 1 to 10? Just tell me.
Shoot, 10 plus, man. it has become, in a lot of ways, my life. I mean, obviously, my family is first and foremost, but I love what I do. I had a great experience at an excellent corporate law firm, biggest law firm in the state. 900 lawyers now, which is amazing to me. Had a great mentor there. Got a lot of trial experience there. It was a different era to be at that firm than what it is now, because young lawyers there now probably don't try a case in 10 years. But I think I was cut out to be a plaintiff's lawyer. I grew up in a small town. My dad worked at the post office. My mom was a secretary for the highway department. And I always had a plan, Eric. I went to law school up in Virginia at William and Mary, which, as they told us a million times, is the country's oldest law school. I met my wife there, and my plan was I was going to go back across the James River, to the little farming community that I grew up in. I was going to hang out a shingle and run for Congress. And my wife, who was from New York, took one look at my hometown. She was like, let me tell you, I love you, and I don't mind living in the South, but this is too small.
She's the Green Acres ain't for me.
This is it's 2 Green Acres, and that's what led me to Charleston, which, boy, my kids are like, thank God Mom put her foot down. And we ended up here because they loved growing up here. But yeah, it's been a fun ride. Mark and I have had a great partnership. Yeah. We became friends really from my wife. She did her 3rd year at University of South Carolina as a transfer student, because we got married right after I graduated from law school. And this is a true story. She came back from a trial advocacy class, and she said, I saw a guy today in class who's going to be one of the best lawyers in South Carolina.
Get out of town.
And I was like, oh, yeah, who was it? She's like, some guy named Mark Joye. And I swear that's true. I had never met Mark. And based on that, I kind of sought him out like at a party or something a couple of weeks later, and we became fast friends. And Mark started his career doing insurance defense work. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to come out of law school and just go straight to work for his dad. He thought that would be perceived that, maybe he's getting favoritism.
Right.
So he cut his teeth somewhere else as well. But we both knew, we're plaintiffs lawyers. We want to represent people. We don't want to represent insurance companies for the rest of our career. Not there's anything wrong with it. It's just not for me.
Right.
It wasn't for Mark either. And so when we had an opportunity, we had talked about starting our own firm. His dad, who was quite a character, got wind of it and basically was like, you guys don't know what the heck you're doing, and came to us with the proposal saying, look, why don't y'all buy my law firm? I needed an exit strategy. And his deal with me is, look, I'm going to give you the same deal as my son. I'm going to sell it to y'all 50-50. I got one condition for you. I don't want you to change the name. This is my legacy. I don't want you. And I was like, man, there couldn't be a better law firm name than Joye Law Firm. Why would I screw with that?
Wow.
And so 26 years ago, Mark and I made that move. And it always is like a marriage. It's hard work. You're not going to always agree. But we have both found a way to kind of work to our own strengths.
And you make it look easy, damn it.
It's not easy, but it has. I think part of it looking easy, Eric, is kind of like the work you do, because I know you love what you do as well. If you love the work you're doing, it does look easy because it doesn't look like you're working. And I am just as happy on a Monday morning as I am on a Saturday morning. And frankly, when we have a place down at Kiowa we love. One of the reasons I love it is that it's just far enough away that if we're down there, I won't come into the office on Saturday and Sunday. Because if I'm in Mount Pleasant, I mean, my kids are grown and doing their own things now. At some point, I'm going to be in that office because I'm happy there.
Drawn to it.
Yeah. So, but I'm very proud. We have the best team right now that we've ever had, 18 lawyers and just some outstanding young trial lawyers, but also just really good people doing the rest of the work, because it's the lawyers on the ones getting all the spotlight and the
accolades and everything else.
All the accolades, but it's the the paralegals and the legal assistants, all the people, the IT guys and your COO. It's those people in the background that are doing the nuts and bolt work that set us up to be successful. And we've just got a great team right now. So
now, before we go to break, I want you to kind of tell me, we go to break and we'll come back with something I want to call a lightning round. We'll go really quick on this one.
Sounds good.
What advice do you have for young lawyers coming up right now, Ken Harrell?
Well, first, before you go into the profession, make sure that it's something that you really feel passionate about. I've met a lot of young lawyers that I think just sort of defaulted into going into law thinking, oh, it's a way to make a lot of money. And I would tell you, most lawyers, frankly, Eric, don't make a lot of money, relatively speaking, in terms of what people I think are expecting. So make sure you're passionate about it. And if you do make the decision that it's something you're drawn to do, find a good mentor as soon as you can. And not just a mentor. Find a good mentor that can help you how to practice law the right way. And if you're going to try that approach of having your own firm, find a good mentor who's willing to share with you in terms of the do's and don'ts of building the business. Because there's a lot of landmines out there, and the more that you can avoid, the better off you are.
Well, that's a good one. So we're going to break right now. We're going to come back with a lightning round, our last round with Mr. Ken Harrell.
You don't need a marketing agency. You do deserve very important placement. VIP Marketing and Advertising is a cutting-edge strategic digital, creative, media, and marketing partner that provides services for businesses of all sizes. To stay up to date on the latest marketing news, subscribe for email updates at veryimportantplacement.com.
It's important to plan for your future, but a serious work injury can change your plans forever. If you've been hurt on the job, make a call to the Joye Law Firm, a part of your plans. To move forward after your accident, you need financial and medical support that lasts. Whether you're permanently disabled or until you can go back to work, the Joye Law Firm works to help plan your future for the long haul. We hope you never need our help, but if you've been seriously injured, just call Joye, 888-8888.
All right, so we're back with Attorney Ken Harrell of the Joye Law Firm. I mean, what a great conversation we've had thus far, Ken.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Really enjoyed it. But now I want to go into something we want to call kind of a lightning round. I'm going to bring up certain mediums that you're familiar with, and I want you to kind of tell me the pros and the cons of each of them as far as advertising from your point of view.
Sure.
I mean, there's never a right or wrong answer here. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on newspaper.
That's probably the one I have the least experience with. It's hard for me to imagine that it would be all that effective, Eric. I mean, I still read the newspaper. I'm old school, and I still get the Post and Courier every day and the New York Times Saturday and Sunday, and that's kind of my weekend thing is diving into the New York Times. But I don't know there's many people that are still picking up a physical newspaper. Certainly not anybody much younger than me.
All right. Radio.
Radio, I think, can be hit or miss. We've never had a lot of success with it, but I think it can be very effective if you have a niche market. Mm-hmm. For example, like Spanish speaking radio, I still am inclined to believe is probably the best way of trying to attract Spanish speaking clients. But again, radio is a lot like broadcast TV in the sense that I think most younger people, they're not just turning on the radio in the car anymore. I mean, they're listening to Spotify or Pandora or whatever the case may be. But I think it's getting tougher and tougher for the traditional radio stations to sell marketing.
Right. You bring up a good one. Internet radio.
We've dabbled in that. I think it will get bigger and bigger. I can't say that we've had a ton of success doing it, but clearly we know that the Spotifys and the Pandoras, they're not going away. So it's definitely something to consider.
Podcasting, what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I like I listen to podcasts all the time. And so like the Daily, which is the New York Times Daily podcast, is my go-to. But I could start rattling them off. This American Life. I like Mark Maron's podcast. There's so many good ones. There's so much quality.
There's so many good ones
there.
And it's what you want.
And there's just nothing better. And I'm on the road a lot because I'm driving up to our Myrtle Beach office or I'm driving to our Columbia office. And it's just such a great way to spend 2 hours on the road listening to a quality podcast. It's going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
I agree.
I guess the question becomes in terms of watch rate exposure, because there's so many podcasts that it's trying to figure out, well, what's the right price point if you're going to invest in marketing on podcasts in terms of trying to figure out, well, how many people are actually going to be listening to it. But there are clearly some podcasts that have become so successful that it would be a pretty good medium, I think, for people to consider.
Television.
Television is still probably the best way to reach the largest number of people. Again, it's getting tougher because the younger generation does not sit around waiting for Wednesday at 8 p.m. to watch their favorite show now. They're going to watch it when they want to watch it on their device. I think because of that, there's been more of a move towards finding programs like the news or sports where there's where you're going to have the eyeballs. I mean, if you're a Gamecocks fan, I know we both are, and you're going to watch the football game on Saturday, you're not going to turn it on and watch the replay or watch it 5 hours later. You're going to watch it at 1 o'clock when kickoff starts. TV's still a part of the mix, particularly for personal injury law firms to consider. But it does grow a little less effective, and by that I mean broadcast, cable TV. I think every year it gets a little bit less effective. Now, when is the end game going to be? I mean, I think TV will still be around 10 years, 15 years from now. But you just have to you got to keep monitoring it and seeing how effective it is.
I think the way that you're going to buy television is going to be different.
Right.
I think it'll be different the way you buy television. You have things like I watched the NBA Finals, I watched the Super Bowl, big sporting events, and if you noticed, you saw more YouTube TV advertising. Right. And there's so many cord cutters nowadays where at my house, I can survive without cable TV, but I can't survive without the internet. I need the internet.
Sure, of course.
And it's like now where the internet is the source now. You have over 50 to 70 channels on YouTube TV at a $59 price point. You can watch it anywhere you want.
Sure.
In the world, and it actually changes with the demographic, whatever the DMA that you're going into.
Yeah, absolutely.
I stayed in Greenville not too long ago. And while I was there, I wanted to see some of the local TV and, catch up on some things. I just open up my phone or my iPad and, now I have local TV right there, And you can do that while you're on the road. So it's just amazing. I think the internet or connected TV is really changing things.
Yep.
Outdoor.
Interestingly, because we're getting ready to make a big push with some outdoor marketing statewide. The benefit of outdoor is it's there. I mean, people can avoid you if you're on broadcast TV if they just don't turn the TV on. But if you're traveling on the highways, it's pretty hard to avoid the outdoor marketing. So you got static eyeballs. You're going to get a certain number of eyeballs every day. I don't think outdoor is something that you can expect to be a direct response generator for a law firm.
It's more of awareness.
But it's a top of mind awareness situation. It's a branding situation. So again, as I've said to our billboard design teams, like I want it to say trusted professional. I don't want any nonsense on my billboards,
right,
because that's inconsistent with
your message,
brand and our message.
Yeah.
But I do think it can be effective for that purpose.
Okay. All right. Now, digital marketing, and that says a lot. I mean, digital marketing says a lot. That's your retargeting, your display, your Google ads. How effective, or what are your pros and cons about those?
It's becoming more and more important. We do a lot of the Google ad. I think that's the wave of the future.
Okay.
Is in just trying to figure that out. I mean, and the same thing with a lot of the I guess it's referred to as the OTT sources like the Roku and Hulu, and I can't say that I think any law firm, or at least any South Carolina law firm, has really figured that out yet, and maybe it's just because it's still kind of in the early stages.
Yeah.
But we all need to be watching it because it's going to become bigger and bigger.
And the last but not least, social media.
I like social media. I think it's important that, particularly a marketing firm needs to have some presence there. It needs to be quality content. I think we work hard to try not to put junk out there on our social media posts. And a lot of it needs to be a mix. Some of it is what I would call the feel-good social media. Here's the 5 best summer picnic recipes. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
If people want to get a good macaroni salad recipe, we'll try to provide that. Some of it is sort of feel-good from the standpoint of, each week, the pet that we're putting up for adoption for the Charleston Animal Society or our scholarships program, those types of things. And then probably about 25%, 30% of our content is the real legal content. What to do if you're injured on the job. Now, that's not the kind of thing that's going to ever get 1,000 likes because people are used to liking puppy photos and sunsets, and they don't really want to think about getting hurt on the job. But if you catch that person who, God forbid, just got hurt on the job, then that's a real opportunity to connect with that person if you've got quality content posted on social media. So I think social media is important. I think lawyers were a little late to the game. Law firms were a little late to the game, maybe in terms of realizing how important it is. And that said, if you're expecting, hey, we're going to do quality Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and the phone's just going to ring off the hook, I think you're going to be disappointed. I think it is probably akin in some ways to outdoor marketing, to billboards. I think it just is part of that top-of-mind presence that you're trying to stay in front of people to say, hey, look, don't forget about us. We're here if you need us.
Okay.
Hope you don't, but if you do, we're here.
Gotcha. So that's going to do it for us and Mr. Ken Harrell here of the Joye Law Firm. So I know Chris and the rest of the craft team, they'll put some fake applause in here for us, Ken, at some point. So if we could, Ken, please just tell the folks, how they could find you.
Sure. If you're wanting to find me or anybody associated with the Joye Law Firm, best place to start is joylawfirm.com. I think you'll find a lot of information there that will be helpful to you. And perhaps might be helpful whether you hire a lawyer or not. Best phone number, 843-888-8888. And got a great team. And like I said, hope you never need us. But if you do, the call is free and the consultation is free. And we'd love to talk with you.
Awesome. That's Mr. Ken Harrell. So I want to thank you guys for joining us today on the AdCast. Thank you, Mr. Ken Harrell. If you guys feel like this podcast has been helpful for you, we'd like you to like it, share it, go online, give us a 5-star review. 5-star or better. That's the best. That's what we're looking for. You can listen to it anywhere that you consume your content, and also go to veryimportantplacement.com to follow us. You can go to Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We even have a Snapchat and a LinkedIn, Ken. I mean, there's so many different outlets nowadays, right? So just want to say thank you again to Mr. Ken Harrell, and this has been the AdCast.
Copyright VIP Marketing and Advertising. Produced by Craft Creative.
When all eyes are on you, make it count. From audio to video to graphic design and more, Craft Creative can do it all. We don't make commercials, we craft creative. See what we can do for you at wecraftcreative.com.